You know, when we think about dangers at a veterinary clinic, we're usually thinking about the pets. But today, we're flipping that around. We're looking at a new weapon that helps protect vets from a deadly virus, a virus that can jump from our pets directly to us. So, here's a question for you. When is a sick cat a danger to its vet? I know, it sounds like the beginning of a bad joke, but for veterinarians, this is a life or death question. And the answer is, when that cat is carrying a virus that doesn't just make animals sick, it can infect humans too. And here's the culprit. It's called SFTSV, which is a mouthful, I know. It stands for Severe Fever with Thrombocytopenia Syndrome virus. It's a nasty bug, usually spread by ticks, that can cause some really serious, sometimes fatal disease. But as we're about to see, ticks aren't the only way this virus gets around. So what makes SFTSV so scary? Well, first off, it's zoonotic, which is the scientific way of saying it can leap from animals to people. And we're not just guessing here. There are documented cases of cats passing it to humans. Now combine that with a shockingly high fatality rate in people. We're talking 10 to 30%. And the fact that there's no vaccine for it, yeah, the stakes get incredibly high for anyone who gets close to an infected animal. So you can see the problem, right? This virus has basically turned veterinary clinics into a potential front line for a really dangerous infectious disease, hiding in plain sight in some of their cutest patients. To really drive home how serious this is, just look at this comparison. We all know the seasonal flu can be bad, but its fatality rate is tiny, less than 0.1%. SFTSV, on the other hand, has an average fatality rate of around 20%. That's a whole different level of risk for these veterinarians. Okay, so this brings us to a huge problem. Let's say a vet suspects a cat has SFTSV. What happens then? Well, the traditional way of handling this, it's a dangerous waiting game. Picture this. Day 1, the sick cat arrives, and the vet takes a sample. But that's just the start. The sample then has to be packaged up and sent out to a special lab. And then you wait for days. All the while, the staff has to treat that animal as if it's highly infectious, turning every single interaction into a potential exposure risk. But what if you could take that terrifying, multi-day waiting period and just crush it? What if you could shrink it down to less than 90 minutes? Well, that's exactly where this new piece of technology comes in. It's basically a laboratory in a box. And here it is. This is the POCKIT Central. It's a fully automated testing platform. The magic phrase here is sample in, answer out. You literally put a raw sample in one side, and a clear, easy-to-read result pops out the other. You don't need to be a lab technician to run it. And the process couldn't be simpler. You take a whole blood sample, you put it in a little cartridge, you pop that cartridge into the machine, press start, and then you can just walk away. About 85 minutes later, you have your answer. That whole window of risk we talked about, it's basically gone. And this is what makes it all possible. On the outside, you see this sleek, compact unit that can sit right on a benchtop. But on the inside, once you open it up, you can see it's a whole self-contained lab. It does everything automatically, from pulling out the virus's genetic material to making millions of copies so it can be detected, all inside that one little box. Now look, a fast and easy test is great, but it's totally useless if it isn't accurate. So a team of researchers in Japan decided to put the POCKIT Central to the ultimate test, a head-to-head showdown with the old, slow, gold standard lab methods. So what did they find? They found this. A 100% match, perfect accuracy. The study looked at 40 real-world samples from cats, and the results from the 85-minute POCKIT Central test were, and I'm quoting here, completely consistent with the results from the traditional lab tests that takes days. That's just incredible. I mean, you can see it right here in the data. The conventional test found 10 positive cats and 30 negative cats. The POCKIT Central? It found the exact same 10 positives and the exact same 30 negatives. A perfect score. Now, to be completely transparent, the study did point out one tiny area for improvement. The test was just a little less sensitive when it came to one specific genetic variant of the virus. But honestly, that's what good science does. It finds these small issues so they can be fixed in the next version of the test. Okay, so let's zoom out and think about what this really means. An 85-minute, highly accurate test you can do right in the clinic. What does that change for vets, for pets, and for all of us? It's not an exaggeration to say it's a revolution. The difference is just night and day. We're going from the old way, days of waiting, high exposure risk, and delayed treatment, to a new way that takes about as long as watching a movie. The risk of infection plummets, and the sick animal can get the right care almost immediately. For the clinics themselves, the benefits are just huge. You get a diagnosis right then and there. It's so much simpler than preparing samples for an outside lab. It minimizes the risk for the entire staff, and it even has a built-in UV light to decontaminate itself after every run. It's just safer and smarter all around. And this leaves us with a really powerful thought to end on. Sure, this tech was tested for one specific virus in cats, but think bigger. The last few years have taught us all that the health of animals and the health of humans are completely connected. So the real question isn't just about protecting our vets. It's about how many future outbreaks or even pandemics we could stop in their tracks if this kind of rapid, on-site testing was available everywhere.